Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to tell you should terrify every American. Mysterious drones are scanning our skies for radiation, and President Trump just confirmed what our sources have been saying. The military knows, the president knows, but they won't tell the people. Why? Because nuclear material has gone missing. The Office of Global Access, a shadowy three-letter agency, has deployed advanced surveillance drones across multiple states hunting for what could be a dirty bomb. Meanwhile, radiation levels are spiking, and Biden's HHS just spent $300 million on anti-radiation medication. Isn't that nice? The question isn't if they're lying to us, it's why. And Patriots, when the government starts hunting for dirty bombs while stockpiling radiation medication, smart money moves to real security. That's why central banks worldwide are swapping paper dollars for physical gold. Your retirement funds are sitting in digital accounts backed by nothing but government promises. The same government that's hiding the truth about these drones. Call Global Gold Investments. That's the number on the screen at 888-700-4148. Get your free 2024 Protect Your Wealth and Retirement Guide. Mention Next News for a complimentary portfolio analysis. Don't wait until the radiation detectors start screaming. Secure your family's future with real money, physical gold, and guess what? You might just get a special gift if you mention Gary Franchi. That's right, $1,000 in free silver. Okay, so what have we got here? Liz Wheeler reporting, this is why people worry a nuke is on the loose, because our government is gaslighting us. Nothing to see here. Just have Congress give us more power. Yes, the DHS, FBI, FAA, and DOD issued a joint statement on ongoing response to reported drone sightings. There are more than 1 million drones lawfully registered with the FAA in the United States, and there are thousands of commercial, hobbyist, and law enforcement drones lawfully in the sky on any given day. With the technology landscape evolving, we expect that number to increase over time. Oh, thanks, guys. We appreciate that. FBI has received tips of more than 5,000 reported drone sightings in the last few weeks, with approximately 100 leads generated, and the federal government is supporting state and local officials in investigating these reports. Consistent with each of our unique missions and authorities, we are quickly working to prioritize and follow these leads. We have sent advanced detection technology to the region, and we have trained visual observers. Oh, did you see that last line there? We have sent advanced detection technology to the region. Isn't that what we've been saying? You see how they hide it right there in their official statement? We have sent advanced detection technology to the region. Right there. That's their joint statement. We've got this too, breaking. Hill Air Force Base confirms sightings of unmanned aerial systems or drones in area around the base. Sean Farash, if you don't know who he is, he does one of the greatest Donald Trump impressions ever. He calls it Drone Gate, and it highlights an even larger issue at play, which is trust. Yes, trust has been eroded in the public because we don't trust what the government tells us anymore. He says, say the government came out immediately and said the drone sightings were prototypes being tested for future military use. Would anyone actually believe them? Our government has lied to us so many times that many people have completely lost faith in their word. Because of this, we wind up in a situation where we abandon the most logical explanation due to the idea that there would be no reason to cover up, avoid addressing something easily explainable. This is actually a very dangerous position we find ourselves in, and it leaves us incredibly vulnerable to manipulation. Very astute observation. And then we have this, Chuck Schumer. Right on schedule, folks. Right on schedule. 4 hours ago, he posted, Chuck Schumer, yes, the esteemed senator, this week, amid the drone sightings, I will move for the Senate to pass legislation giving local officials the tools and authorities necessary to act quickly and in lockstep with government agencies. Wow. So let's kind of put these pieces of the puzzle together here. So sources indicate that we have nuclear missile or nuclear material on the loose. Drones are out hunting for it. People freak out. People make phone calls. And the solution is more legislation to grant the government more power. Problem, reaction, solution. UAP James, just in, White House issues a statement on the drone sightings. We have not identified anything anomalous or any national security or public safety risk over the civilian airspace. Let's see what News Nation had to say.
I want to tell you what Kirby told us moments ago, and he said, quote, "The sightings to date include a combination of lawful commercial drones, hobbyist drones, and law enforcement drones, as well as manned fixed-wing aircraft, helicopters, and even stars that were mistakenly reported as drones." He goes on to say, "We have not identified anything anomalous or any national security or public safety risk over the civilian airspace in New Jersey and or in other states in the Northeast."
Well, why would they pose a public safety risk if they're ours, right? Yeah, see, that's the piece of the puzzle they're not revealing to us. Nick Sortor, 3 hours ago, Biden advisor John Kirby says the White House knows whose drones are flying over New Jersey. Our assessment is these are legal and lawful, especially if they're operated by the CIA. Let's take a look and listen to what he had to say.
White House National Security Communications Advisor, retired Admiral John Kirby. John, thanks for being here. You hear all of these officials. You've heard a lot of concern, a lot of coverage. Where are you tonight on this?
As we look at the information we've got, Brett, and we've now examined some 5,000 different sightings, we've added detection capabilities, additional observers. As you and I stand here today, to date, our assessment is that this is lawful, legal, commercial, hobbyist, and even law enforcement aircraft activity. Some of it's manned, some of it's unmanned. We absolutely acknowledge that a lot of these are probably drones, but they're flying legally. And it is legal to fly drones in non-restricted airspace as long as you're registered with the FAA. And there's thousands and thousands of these kinds of flights every single day. I think there's more than 1 million drones that are registered with the FAA just in the United States alone.
But this is different, it seems. These are bigger. They're 6 feet in diameter, a lot of them. There was a reporter the other day that saw 50 coming from the coast at one, pack. I know when you first came out, you said that most of these are manned. Can you concede that maybe most of these are not manned?
Well, I said was at the time, and this was Thursday, when we were not as informed as we are today based on the resources we have applied to the problem set. I said many of the reported sightings we believe to be manned aircraft. That was true when we said it on Thursday. We still believe, Brett, that some of these are, in fact, manned aircraft. I couldn't give you a breakdown of what percentage, but we do believe that still some of these sightings are, in fact...
Okay, but Kirby, what percentage are CIA drones? Can you tell us that at least?
And aircraft. We also acknowledge that a lot of them are unmanned aircraft. But again, our assessment to date, given all the work that we've done, the FBI, state and local officials, that these are legal and lawful drones flying for the common good.
Okay, the Homeland Security Secretary said over the weekend that right now they don't have any foreign involvement, criminal activity. We don't see them as a national security concern. How can you get to that point? How can you get to that conclusion with what you're seeing?
Because we've done the analysis, we've done the detection and the analysis, we've corroborated the sightings, and in every case that we have examined to date, we have seen nothing that indicates a public safety risk. There are drones flying over the skies of the United States every single night, every single day, and we've seen nothing in and around New Jersey that should give the people on the ground there concerns for their safety for this activity. And we've seen nothing, working with the Department of Defense as well, that indicates a foreign adversary actor involved or any kind of pernicious national security threat. Now, there have been some drone sightings, I think, as you know, over some military bases. We're obviously looking at that. That is a different category, and DOD has different authorities to deal with that. But again, we've also seen no disruption of operations at our bases in New Jersey either from any of this.
Okay.
Didn't they just shut down an airport in New York? Come on. All right, let's see if he gets asked about that.
Here's the president-elect today.
They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense.
What's your answer to that?
Well, I think it goes back to the first question you asked me, Brett. I mean, we have made an assessment based on the work we've done thus far, and our assessment is that this is lawful and legal activity, whether it's manned or unmanned. Again, we see no indication of a national security or public...
I love it when he says lawful and legal, because if they're CIA drones hunting for dirty bombs, of course they'd be lawful and legal, right?
Okay, but there are so many of them, John. There are so many of them, John. If this was happening over Delaware, Rehoboth Beach, would you be a little bit more concerned? I mean, I guess the people of New Jersey wonder why it took so long to get to the point you are now. And if you see all of this, doesn't a local authority need the authority to be able to deal with it? Is it something Congress has to pass? Because they want to say, I don't want a 6-foot wide diameter refrigerator flying over my house and falling on my roof.
That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked it, Brett, because we absolutely do want to see congressional action. The Biden administration proposed legislation for counter-UAS authorities, additional authorities, to close some of the gaps and seams that you're talking about, not only between our own agencies here in the federal government, but the gaps that exist between us and state and local authorities. We absolutely want to see that legislation, and President Biden's calling for a bipartisan task force on Capitol Hill to do exactly that, to try to drive some legislative remedies. I think everybody...
legislative remedies, a bipartisan task force. We're going to get to the bottom of this, and Congress is going to give you more laws.
We all understand this, Brett. I mean, we're in a new ecosystem in terms of unmanned aircraft in this country. Again, all legal and lawful and doing the right thing for the public good, but it's a brand new ecosystem. There are more systems flying, more purposes over more cities than ever before, and the authorities and the gaps and seams that those authorities don't give us have not kept up with that ecosystem, and so we want to see that driving forward.
All right, last thing. You don't see any linkage between the number of, that this is all tied together in one thing. You think these are all different elements and different kinds of drones, not with one company, not with the military, not with the DOE, Department of Energy. You don't say that they're looking for some nuclear material. You say these are all different flying objects, some of them manned, some not.
Our assessment to date is that, Brett, that this is a collection of law enforcement, hobbyists, commercial drones, and of course civil aviation aircraft that have caused all these sightings. And it's not attributable to an actor for a purpose. And again, I want to stress to your viewers, we don't see anything that indicates a national security or a public safety threat. The last thing I'll say, Brett, and I appreciate the time you're giving me, is this is an ongoing investigation. We're still working our way through this. Sightings continue to come in. We've taken them all seriously, and we'll continue to look at this. And if we learn more, if we know more, certainly if we find something that's contradictory to what we believe today, I'll be right up here on your show talking about it.
And we will have you on right away. John, we appreciate the time.
He didn't answer the question. Brett Baer asked him, are they looking for radiological material? Are they or not? Oh, they're lawful and legal. Law enforcement, right? I posted this a day ago. Gang of 8 member Representative Jim Himes suggested that this drone flap is likely the result of teenagers. Teenagers with Walmart drones. Yeah, that's the prevailing theory from the Gang of 8.
Put a bunch of, hopefully with truth. Now, let me say something that I know with confidence. It is not the Iranians. It is not the Chinese. They aren't Martians. I know that's very unsatisfying for people who want a Hollywood movie out of this. But
how can you say that, though?
Look, in the absence of good information, I can say that because I spent all my time as the ranking member of the Intelligence Committee watching what the Iranians and the Chinese do. And you know what they don't do is put a bunch of drones that we could easily recover over the continental United States. The Chinese learned that lesson, of course, with their spy balloon. And you're right, I can't say it with 100% probability.
Oh, really? We let that spy balloon fly over our entire country, collecting data the entire time. And then you shot it down. Yeah, you learned a lot there, buddy.
to Nicole's point, it's just the military is amazing at what they do. An aircraft carrier has 6,000 amazing people on it who will defeat the Iranians. What they're not very good at doing is identifying if there's 12 teenage boys in Montclair, New Jersey, flying Walmart drones. The military is not very good at identifying that and dealing with that. So hopefully with truth.
They're not that good at dealing with that. So maybe we should enact legislation to stop the Walmart kids. Breaking news. Our government is using fear to pass the FAA Reauthorization Act of 2018, which expires on December 20th of this year. Wyatt, 11 hours ago, the FAA Reauthorization Act of 2018 expires on December 20th, so the federal government is literally using terrorism drone mystery PSYOP against you to manipulate Congress into passing the new H.R. 8610, Counter UAS Authority, Security, and Safety. Yeah. What do you know? And then there was this. Then there was this post. I posted this 3 hours ago, and it really caught my attention. And I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna read this out to you. If you want to read the full post, and I got roasted. I got roasted a little bit on X for posting this. Okay. You can read the whole thing. This is the whole thing. A lot of small print. But the picture's there. The link to the original post is there. People are like, oh, you can't just post this without the link. Well, there it is. Trump confirms drone secrecy as top secret source links to false flag warning. Following Trump's remarks about mysterious drones flying over New Jersey and near Bedminster, disturbing intel has resurfaced, pointing to a new kind of false flag operation. Now, this post is from May of 2022. The chilling post predicted a campaign centered on radiological threats, not nuclear detonations, but the deliberate dispersal of radioactive materials. The goal to create mass panic, restrict freedoms, and expand government surveillance under the guise of safety. And what are we seeing right now? Well, we're seeing drones up in the air, and we're seeing legislation, calls for new legislation Congress needs to act, which is falling directly in line with this May 22 post. According to the intel, the aftermath of such an event would involve images of burn victims, overcrowded triage centers, contact tracing app tied to radiation exposure, mandatory for device connectivity, legislation banning encryption, giving the government unprecedented access to metadata and location tracking. Now, of course, there has not been, and thank God there hasn't been, any type of full-scale radiological dirty bomb detonation. But according to the source, that's what they believe is about to happen. Now, our source claim, if you watched this on Saturday, you'd know that these drones may be searching for gamma rays, exactly what this false flag scenario described. The operation could be a pretext for rolling out draconian measures, mirroring the tactics used during that beautiful moment a few years ago. Trump alluded to strange government secrecy, saying the military knows, the president knows, but they won't tell the people. The question asked is, are we witnessing the groundwork for a psychological operation designed to control the narrative and tighten restrictions? We've already seen media manipulations with disinformation campaigns flooding independent platforms. If this scenario is true, these drones aren't just about surveillance, they're about setting the stage for something much darker. Again, go to my X. You can see this post in full. Now, we have some more information here for you. Glenn Beck, I thought this was really interesting. Okay. Now, this is actually a post from October 7th of 2022, asking the question. Now, this is resurfacing in light of this information, in light of these drones, in light of the dirty bomb hunting, sniffing drones. Glenn Beck asked the question, why did Biden's HHS just spend $300 million on anti-radiation poisoning medication that only has a shelf life of 18 months? Do they know something that we don't? Listen.
So what did we just spend $300 million on? Well, the drug that the HHS says it just purchased was called N-Plate, and it's made by a company named Amgen. I'm looking into the company now. I'm trying to see if there's any other way to explain this other than they know something that we don't know. Now, this drug is used to treat acute ARS. That's acute radiation syndrome. It's used to treat blood cell injuries from severe radiation poisoning. So if you don't take the thyroid blocker stuff, you end up with acute radiation blood poisoning, I guess. So here's what's interesting. Until this press release, there is no evidence of any kind that our research team could find that Health and Human Services have ever had anti-radiation poison medication just sitting around on hand. We don't carry a stockpile of this. Now, here's the other interesting thing. If you look at the MDSS, the Material Data Safety Sheet, and you look for this drug from Amgen, the storage half-life for end plate, which is in an IV bag, is required to be refrigerated at all times, and it only has a shelf life of 18 months. Why did we just spend $300 million on something we've never purchased before? It is for serious radiation poisoning. It has to be refrigerated at all times. And it only has a shelf life of 18 months.
Great question, Glenn. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. We appreciate that. And then we have this. One day ago, there is credible intel that supports the claim that the U.S. government is using drones to search for trace radiation of missing germanium-68. Reported by Richard Peros to John Lillendahl, Senior Emergency Response Coordinator, NRC. And we have this.
2000, Patterson Tower, med flight 1900 feet, about 7 miles southwest of the field, like transition your Delta northeastbound.
Med Flight 8 Patterson Tower, use extreme caution for heavy UAS movement on the base. Security forces is handling the situation. Suggest at or above 1700 AGL.
That we will maintain 2000 and on our transition for Med Flight 8.
And I gotta keep the lights down so that security forces can see.
Roger that, no problem.
Position approved, sir.
Approved, Med Flight 8.
Now, for clarification, this was posted by Roz Alerts. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base shuts down due to unauthorized drone activity. And this is the radio communication.
Med Flight 8 Tower.
Ahead for Med Flight 8.
Hey, sir, you're still approved through our Class Delta. After you leave, Columbus is going to sterilize the Class Delta as of 0330 Zulu. Patterson Class Delta is closed after your transition.
I'm sorry about that. You got stepped on by other traffic. Can you say again?
Yes, sir. Your transition is still approved. However, Patterson Class Delta is sterilized as of 0330 Zulu for heavy unknown UAS activity. Security forces is handling it, and Columbus is going to sterilize the airspace after you leave the Delta.
Wow.
Roger that. No problem. Thank you.
All aircraft use extreme caution. Patterson Class Delta is now closed for heavy UAS activity.
Closing the airspace. Emergency class, non-emergency. Agreement state report, source lost in transit. Following information was provided by New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection via email. The license reported to NJDEP on December 3rd is at a GE68 pin source that they sent for disposal but lost in transit on December 2nd. The source is Eckert & Ziegler, model HEGL0132. Current approximate activity of 0.267 MCL. The shipping container arrived at its destination damaged and empty. The licensee has filed a claim with the shipper. If the source has not been located within 30 days, the licensee will follow up with a full written report to include root causes and corrective actions. Yeah. Sources are very unlikely to cause permanent injury to individuals or contain very small amount of radioactive material that would not cause permanent injury. And here is, okay, now a lot of people are posting these maps. These are radiological maps. Apparently there's an app for that. And you can download the app and you can actually see current radiation levels in your area. We got more maps for that. But then we have this. Benny Johnson had a guy on today. I think you need to hear him. Retired U.S. Navy intel officer says New Jersey drones may be used to detect radiation from a missing nuclear weapon. Isn't that nice? Let's listen.
Some type of horrible act trying to cover their ass and find something before it starts. That seems to me to be the most logical explanation for what's going on.
It could be. Benny, I worked at the National FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force, and we did a lot of intelligence gathering regarding the border. And our fear was that someone would walk in with a dirty bomb, or someone would walk in with a powerful weapon.
Wow.
And at least when I was there was no evidence that was happening, but it doesn't mean it didn't happen, okay?
Wow.
That all these years, maybe, you have cells being created all over the place. Now, only the FBI and the CIA, et cetera, know that right now. But saying that, we need to be vigilant. You see something, say something. Very important at this time in our history. And secondly, our government needed to take action a long time ago to shut that border down. We see it's going to happen soon. But believe me when I tell you that when it comes to the national security of the United States, we're going to see some very significant changes for the good down the road. Unfortunately, it got to this point, but you know who rose to the occasion? The American people. The American people rose to the occasion and said, enough's enough. America has to defend itself against all threats, foreign and domestic. And that's coming real soon. So there's our...
Foreign and domestic. Wonder who those domestic threats are. Okay, so here are some of those maps. Incredibly high radiation levels in America at the moment, and the government apparently keeping it hidden. But I guess you have an app. You can go ahead and download it. Here's San Antonio. Those red dots indicate high radiation levels. And then here is Chicago. How lovely. Yeah. I'm not sure exactly what these numbers mean, but I think red means bad. And that's, thankfully, that's not very close to me. And then we have New York. Look at that number. That's just kind of a scary number. That's a really big number, so that means it's really bad, right? And then we have Newark, Mountain View, big numbers over there, over Palo Alto, 2,520. And here's another one. Edward Baker decided to download the real-time radiation map. What am I looking at here in New Jersey? Okay, so we got some red dots here as well, 4,021. And we got a smaller one here, 78. Yeah, people are downloading these apps. This was kind of bizarre. I did not expect Bethany Frankle, of all people, to be weighing in on this, but here we are. She says we have to be having this discussion. We can't be the village idiots. It's an inauguration year. The world's been at war, and radiation is spiking in areas coinciding with the concentration of drones. Wow, Bethany Frankle. Shall we? Okay, let's hear what she has to say.
And that you're going to think I'm nuts, but why should today be any different than any other day? I know this guy whose father worked with the Pentagon and NASA and secret projects, and he has been messaging me that he will never forgive himself if he doesn't tell the people that he knows that for a month he's been watching.
I mean, I hate to interrupt, but I'm getting Ferris Bueller vibes off of this. My brother's best friend's girlfriend saw Ferris Bueller pass out at 31 Flavors last night, so I guess it's pretty serious. I don't mean to make light of it, but that was my immediate reaction. Sorry.
Messaging me that he will never forgive himself if he doesn't tell the people that he knows that for a month he's been watching this situation. And now, several days ago, before it became a discussion in the mainstream media, that these drones are ours and that they could very possibly be sniffing out something very dangerous, some missing dangerous W from the war, and that areas that coincide with where the drones have been seen have spiked in radiation. So he said it's time to think about where I am and that I might want to go somewhere with my daughter. So for me, we blow things off and we think nothing's going to happen, but things do happen. I remember sitting in my car with my driver who said to me months before I even knew what the words global pandemic meant, I think there's going to be a global pandemic. I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, if he had bet the markets, he would have been a billionaire. So I'm just listening to this guy and watching. And now Trump, who's hanging out with a lot of billionaires who have a lot of money for research, is also finding out that these are ours. And what were the government's choices? A, tell us that that's what they're doing and widespread panic and pandemonium, or B, do what they're doing. But something is wrong, because otherwise they would eliminate them, and everyone's being very cagey. So what do you think? This guy has also been talking to different people in government positions who agree and are watching now.
Wow, Bethany Frankle. I did not expect her to weigh in on this, but apparently she's got some friends. Synchronous, the drones are not detecting radiation, he says, but they're spreading lethal radiation. Okay, that's not something I've heard yet, but that is what this person is posing 13 hours ago. Of course, he brings up the Glenn Beck segment talking about the anti-radiation potassium iodide pills that were purchased by the government. Facts Prime, U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission confirms radioactive material lost in transit. Fears grow over public safety as investigation unfolds. Mysterious drone activity in New Jersey. Authorities scramble to locate missing material. And then there is this. Did you guys see this today? An independent player, BlackRock, suddenly shows up. The emoji reference doesn't make sense. They're an energy firm, not a drone manufacturer, and found a drone that was missing for an entire month. Oh, we've got the video from it too. Yes, look, you can kind of see it. We have the video. We're going to show it to you in just a moment here. But if you want to get answers from the Biden administration, this is what you're going to get. Nothing to see here at all. BlackRock drone found in New York City. The New York Police Department recovered a massive drone in Brooklyn's, where'd it go? There it is. In Brooklyn's Navy Yard, measuring over 5 feet in diameter. This comes as thousands of unidentified drone sightings flood the East Coast. Look at this thing.
Yes. You look so small. I think you're going to be walking around. That's bigger than you. That's what I'm saying.
Yo, can you interview James for me, man? Ask him what happened.
So, did you get contact with the culprit, aka Islam?
Yo, James, how you miss that, bro?
How'd you miss that? It's fucking huge. Alright, keep going. So, we sent you to protect this drone, and you happen to just run it over. Yeah? Okay. What was your game plan going into that?
A massive drone discovered. Now, this person, which is really interesting. Okay, so this image has been floating around. Current event notification report for December 13th. U.S. NRC, and this is the National Nuclear Regulatory Commission. NJ Rad Prat and whatever. This is okay. So this is MJ Truth Ultra posting this. Everyone's sharing the first graphic stating that nuclear material has gone missing as the reason drones are flying around. Yes, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission reported radioactive material lost in New Jersey. What was lost was a GE68 pin for an Eckert and Ziegler model HEGL 0132, which I mentioned earlier. Lost during shipping for disposal. It's used to calibrate PET scanner systems, used as a transmission standard to provide a tissue density correction to permit accurate diagnostic scanning of patients. Now, it doesn't have enough radioactive material to cause damage. And this is what it looks like. This is what was lost. So there's a lot of people freaking out over this specific piece of radioactive material that was lost, but not to get confused with what else could be out there. Let's see. We have, here is President Trump. This was earlier today. Now we played, you saw the Fox clip. That was only a portion of it. Now, I'm going to play this for you. At today's press conference, President Trump directly addresses the mysterious drones, including those already seen over Bedminster, his New Jersey property. Trump didn't sound alarmed, but confirmed what many suspect, that the government knows what exactly is going on. He dismissed the ideas that drones could belong to a foreign enemy. If it was the enemy, they'd blast them out of the sky. Okay, let's watch this here.
What about the fear here at home of the drones?
Good to see you. Thank you. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Can you comment on the drones that are flying around New Jersey ports? It seems like the American people have a big disconnect.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where.
Okay, I'm pausing it right there. Why would he say garage? Why would he say that? If it's a garage, they would go into the garage. Now, our sources, the other day on Saturday, when we went live, we did the emergency broadcast, stated that the radiological material, the dirty bomb material, these drones sniffing for gamma rays from a dirty bomb, could be in a vehicle. Huh. And the government knows. President Trump says that they know.
Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, I mean, they happen to be over Bedminster.
Will you shoot them down?
They're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on that.
Have you been?
I don't want to comment on that. Have you received an intelligence briefing? I can neither confirm nor deny. Right?
If they're a threat.
What about the fear here at home?
So President Trump clearly has some inside information, dismissing they could belong to a foreign enemy. If it was the enemy, they'd blast them out of the sky. Something strange is going on. He mentioned staying cautious, even canceling his weekend at Bedminster. He declined to confirm if he'd received an intelligence briefing. So here's what we know. Trump's comments align with exclusive intel we received from a trusted high-level source. The source revealed these drones are U.S. surveillance craft deployed by the Office of Global Access to track gamma rays linked to potential WMDs. The OGA, a secretive three-letter agency that is within the Central Intelligence Agency, is reportedly conducting a massive operation on both coasts, hunting for a stray nuke or mass casualty weapon hidden in a container or vehicle. He said garage. Vehicle. Trump's remarks confirm what many suspected the government knows and is choosing to stay quiet. And it's not another drone story. This is about classified technology, potential WMDs, and a government scrambling to contain a threat while keeping the public in the dark. That's what we know. And this is interesting. Okay, this was published just 24 hours ago. A New Jersey drone pilot says his drone suddenly lost power as he tried to approach one of the mystery drones. Now, this guy is flying his drone up there. Now, what would cause that? Now, if this is a CIA drone that is sniffing nuclear material, I would believe they would have countermeasures in place to keep other aircraft or other drones away from it, right? They detect a perimeter breach around the drone's airspace, and they, initiate something to jam it and shut it down. So let's listen. This is from MSNBC, of all places.
To connect to the drone.
We have more video that you sent us of you, in fact, trying to launch a drone, and it was right near an airport. So tell us what happened there and why it's so noteworthy.
Okay, so we got reports last night that there was a lot of drone activity in the East Hanover area, which is backs up to Morristown Airport and all that vicinity. So we head out there. We set up in a parking lot about a quarter mile away from the airport. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to get flight clearance to take the drone up and see what this other drone is. And I cannot. Restricted. I tried to bypass it. At one point, it even asked for my phone number. And I said, no, I think we're good at this point.
Okay, now hang on. When you say looking for flight clearance, how does that work? I mean, are you literally talking with a control tower, or what are you doing?
So there's an app that you use to connect to the drone. When it's time, when you want to fly, you press a button, and what it does is it looks for flight clearance or restrictions. And what happened was there was a restriction in that area, and I couldn't get up, but there were drones in the air that weren't following the restriction. Now, we verify everything above us with flight radar, so we can tell if it's an airplane or if it's not. None of the things that we go after are on flight radar.
Okay, so what we're looking at, this device notwithstanding, this control for your drone, if drones are getting into areas without clearance by the FAA, is it possible they figured out some kind of a technology to keep their drones from being jammed and or losing power?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know if you're aware, last week or so, 2 weeks when this started, I tried to take my drone over Picatinny Arsenal to follow a drone that was just hovering over there. And as I got closer, my drone lost power, spun out, and the battery died and it went down. But the other drone remained sitting in the air unaffected.
Why? What do you think?
Yep. Secrets that the government don't want us to know, and they're playing stupid. Either that or aliens.
Oh, come on. Not the latter. Okay, you're smiling. All right. I'm glad. All right. We have more video.
MSNBC even reporting on this. And I think we got a clip from Alex. Let's see what Alex is saying about this. This was 9 hours ago. Trump releases bombshell statement concerning UAP UFO hysteria. President Trump officially solves the UAV mystery and says the U.S. military and Biden know exactly what's going on, are attempting to create fear and hysteria.
Trump just came out an hour ago. We're about to play his statement with an extremely important response to the drone hysteria taking place across the United States right now. And he basically restated exactly what I've been saying. There is no mystery. The mystery is solved. These are drones. These are human-made. The Pentagon knows exactly where they're coming from, where they're going. They're showing particular interest in his Westminster golf course club, a state area where he was already planning to go in a few days. He says he's canceled his trip there. He says they're not a foreign adversary. And he says that the current president Biden has been read in and knows. And they say, well, have you been given a security briefing? He says, I won't comment on that. He's telling you what he's been told in the security briefing because he is the president-elect. This is exactly what I did, a 2-hour special report last night. Mystery of the UAV drone hysteria solved. And I laid out the legislation they're trying to pass right now that would ban all civilian use of drones, have a monopoly of big corporations and government over it. This is a big deal. This is a psyop ahead of Trump getting in 34 days. Trump understands that. This is a dead-on statement from Trump. From all the research and sources I have a lot of Pentagon sources, a lot of corporate sources in aeronautics, space aeronautics. They confirm this is a giant psyop. And they may crash into a plane. They may attack somebody. They're also promoting that nukes are missing. I've warned they may detonate nukes ahead of Trump getting in and blame it on Russia or Iran. And then now that's happening. This is a giant psyop, just like COVID, just like all this different crap. So they got a lot of tracks trying to stop Trump and trying to change the agenda for Make America Great Again. The globalists are desperate. His cabinet is powerful. They know Trump's coming in to restore our republic and punish the wrongdoers so they can't do it again. And we're going to keep watching this whole UAP, UFO hysteria very, very closely with live reports here and at Real Alex Jones on X. So follow this and share this report. Here is the president's statement that I just broke down for you.
Okay. I mean, Alex is saying basically what I'm saying. I think we're in agreement here. Nothing to see here, says the Biden administration, right? But look at this. Look at the size of this drone that they found. Okay. Let's go a little bit deeper here because they're saying this is a Black Rock drone. That's what they're calling it. Massive drone in Brooklyn's Navy Yard measuring over 5 feet in diameter. This comes as thousands of unidentified drone sightings flood the East Coast. The drone belongs to Amaji Incorporated, a research company focus on ammonia-based energy solutions. And guess who invested heavily in Amegy? BlackRock. Now, that doesn't mean that BlackRock is actually controlling these drones. They are an investor in the company, but there is a connection there. The NYPD reportedly discovered the drone after a tip, and Amegy's CEO admitted it. It was left abandoned on a sidewalk after a company party. A 5-foot drone forgotten in New York City. Really? Is that the excuse you use when you lose a drone or you crash a drone? And it's an ammonia-based energy solution company, research company. Was it sniffing? This raises more questions than answers. Are these drones leftovers from parties or something bigger happening? Why are so many drones being spotted along the East Coast at the same time? What role does BlackRock play in all this? It's very suspicious, linked to surveillance, testing. We need answers. The American people deserve to know the truth. This is not a game. No, it's not. What else have we got here? And we have this. This is actually kind of terrifying. This is a man named Joseph Spencer. Now, I'm not familiar with Joseph Spencer, but apparently he had a prediction in 2024 that would happen. A global event will alter the course of mankind's future. This is kind of spooky, but I think we should probably listen to it just for the context it provides.
Actual data have formulated the final stage of their sinister plan. In the year 2024, a global event will alter the course of mankind's future. The world will stand witness to a massive alien invasion. Thousands of projected holographic alien warships will blanket the skies, sending people into a global panic. Real military crafts within the holograms will inflict actual damage to the surrounding areas to sell the gimmick. And as a result of the ensuing human chaos, a one-world government will immediately form without any resistance from the people. They will be the new world order. Once this happens, we as a people will be doomed to enslavement and accelerated depopulation. With that said, the only hope for human salvation is to acquire and spread the knowledge of these activities and agendas. Resist, retaliate, then conquer this imposing enemy. The time is now, as humanity is rapidly approaching its final days.
Wow. Yeah, that's kind of spooky, right? But it kind of lines up with some of the stuff we've been reporting here. Okay, so Disclosure Revolution posts this. Tom DeLonge posted this. The drones that are being discussed can hover for 6 hours and then disappear once they're spotted. This is why it's been hard to get facts from any U.S. agency. Some of them can even move into the ocean and then back up into the air, which is what some of these accounts have stated. They say this is a transmedium travel. It's a hard thing to do. If you look at this document, it seems like a repeat of exactly what happened in the 60s. A good chance these things could potentially be mimicking other aircraft. And this even happened more recently in situations at Skinwalker Ranch. My only knowledge of Skinwalker Ranch, I've never looked into it. I've seen like the History Channel. There's a show on it. They say Skinwalker Ranch, this happened years ago, being studied at, it was being studied the U.S. government under BAAS and AATIP. And again, also decades ago in the 60s, it's something to consider. And although we don't have all the facts yet, we do know that UFOs play with mimicry, and that's been known for quite some time. Well, I don't know. I mean, people want to scream UFO, but I don't think so. You know, going back to my post from 2 days ago, we have a source who has revealed that what these are in fact are drones tracking gamma rays linked to possible WMDs in a massive counter-terror operation. The Office of Global Access has deployed advanced surveillance, and the mission objectives: detect communications tied to the device, partner with law enforcement for rapid response, prevent mass panic while advancing intel operations. The assets in play are low-altitude surveillance aircraft scanning for signals, special ops units ready for instant action, cyber intel teams analyzing terror networks. Now, they say here that this could involve a submarine breach of our warning nets, or a WMD hidden in a cargo container or a vehicle, which then again lines up with why. I mean, why would Trump say a garage, hidden in a garage? I mean, for me, that's a direct connection. The stakes are high. The government's silence speaks volumes. They fear public panic. OGA's advanced intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance tactics include low and slow aerial monitoring actively in play. My source warns this intel is leaking now. Dirty bomb or worse could already be here, so stay alert. This is an active operation with civilian safety on the line. And the question is, why is this being kept from us, and what is really happening on our coasts? Well, day by day, more and more information continues to come out, and I'm glad President Trump finally made a remark. He doesn't believe they're enemies, yet he's concerned about them being around Bedminster. And it's very odd that Bedminster has a UAS-specific TFR around it that began in December 6th, and will expire on December 20th. The TFR exempts drones from being used in ops. If the TFR exempts the drones from being used in ops, that lines up with the sniffing operation. And if they're going over Bedminster and they're sniffing over Bedminster, are they looking for radiological material there? Right? Are you following me here? The other coincidence is the counter-UAS bill that expires on December 20th. This expanded bill is the Patriot Act on steroids. Wow. How lovely is that? Counter-UAS Authority Safety and Reauthorization Act, September 20th, 2024, committed to the Committee of the Whole House on the State of the Union and ordered to be printed. To accompany H.R. 8610. The Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, to whom was referred in the bill, to reauthorize and reform counter-unmanned aircraft system authorities to improve transparency, safety, security, and accountability related to such authorities, and for other purposes, having considered the same, reports favorably therein with an amendment and recommends the bill as amended to pass. What do you know? And here is the Federal Aviation Administration's report on the UAS ops may be in authorization with the defined SSI airspace if in compliance with the listed entities below.
Have you been drones that are flying around New Jersey and ports? It seems like the American people have a big disconnect.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, I mean, they happen to be over Bedminster.
Well, want to know the truth?
They're over Bedminster. I wonder why. Let me get this straight. The government has been saying for over a week they have no idea about the drones, and this morning Donald Trump says the government is lying to the public, and all of a sudden the White House says all the drones are now being operated legally. Mystery U.S. drones all operating legally and lawfully. That's according to the White House. And then we have this Michael Schellenberger. I mean, this guy is on point with everything he does. Trump says White House knows what drones are, as White House, FBI, DHS insist nothing unusual is afoot. He just published this. Let's listen. This was 5 hours ago he published this. Where'd it go? Here it is.
It seems like the...
Hey everybody, it's Mike Schellenberger for Public. Since November 18th, the military, city mayors, and citizens alike have been reporting widespread drone flying over military bases in New Jersey and Ohio, and over homes in New Jersey and other states. This morning, President-elect Donald Trump was asked about the drones.
Can you comment on the drones that are flying around?
Because it was the enemy. I don't want to come.
But then, a few hours later, representatives from the FBI, the White House, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Federal Aviation Administration all said there was nothing unusual going on at all.
These sightings include a combination of lawful commercial drones, hobbyist drones, and law enforcement drones, as well as other aircraft, helicopters, and other images, including lights that are mistakenly reported as drones.
The mayors responded angrily.
This has been going on since November 8th. The air traffic right here in the borough of Florham Park, where I am the mayor of, has never been as big as it is today. And pretty curious to me that on November 18th, the Morristown Airport Tower was not aware of the drones flying in our area.
Public obtained the entire conference call between the mayors, the White House, the FBI, DHS, and the FAA, which ran from around 3:30 p.m. East Coast today to just before 4:30.
You can say these are small aircraft. You can say these are manned. They're not. So I think if anyone was to take away from this that the drones aren't flying, they also must believe that the border is closed. I just don't want to hear any longer that we don't know where they're coming from, because you should know that.
One mayor said he had one drone over his house.
I'm from Edison, New Jersey, smack center of New Jersey, and right above my house I had two drones that were the size of vehicles. I understand that there's a lot of lawfully owned drones, but I just want to stress that it was above my house. I have a video of it. It's not, it's not a small drone, and it was real. It was probably 100, maybe a couple hundred feet above me. And no, I've never seen a drone like that ever before. It was very large, again, the size of a vehicle. So, I just wanted to say, one, thank you for taking the time out and alleviating the concern of a foreign threat or overseas. But my question is really, how many people have you deployed within New Jersey to also look at this? Understand that there's over 100-something, a couple hundred mayors that are all waving a flag saying this is a big deal. We're not trying to be hysterical here. We're not trying to cause panic, but it is, for officials up top to just say that these are legal and lawful and this is not, this is all normal. I think that's what the problem is, that this is certainly not normal. It's an abnormal amount of drones, and the sizes of them are just huge.
Please subscribe now to support Public's award-winning investigative journalism and to listen to and read the entire conference call between the White House, DHS, FBI, FAA, and the mayors of New Jersey.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today, especially with the short notice for this briefing. My name is Sophia Sokolowski. I'm the Special Assistant to the President for Intergovernmental Affairs, and we're very pleased that you've joined us. We have colleagues from multiple agencies who are on this call.
Okay, so I'm going to have to subscribe to that and get in on that. I wonder if there's a link here. Wow, this is a long post. Holy cow. This is big. X.com. So I guess, do you have to subscribe to his X post or public? I'm not sure, but this is if he's got the whole thing, that's pretty wild. And then we have this. This is odd. This is 12 hours ago. A drone crashed on the airfield at Nantucket Memorial Airport just last night. This is an official statement from the town of Nantucket. Drone recovered on an airfield. Now, they do state that this drone was discovered on an area of pavement reserved for safe operation of aircraft. It was immediately reported to FAA. It was a small multi-rotor drone readily available online and weighs under 0.55 pounds. If used recreationally, it may not require FAA registration. So here we have clearly a small commercial drone that has been recovered. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there putting up their own personal drones and some people losing them. And it's just adding to the confusion. And a point, I bring this point up too. This was 6 hours ago. One of the most technologically advanced nations in the world can't figure out where the drones are coming from. I don't buy it. Mystery drones force a shutdown of airport in New York as, quote, invasion spreads. Mystery drones from Vigilant News force shutdown of airport in New York. Wow. And then we have this. This also just happened. 2 arrested after a hazardous drone operation near Boston Airport. This is BC Begley posting this.
Allegedly, Robert Duffy, 42, and Jeremy Folsick, 32, were arrested on Long Island for allegedly operating drones dangerously close to Logan International Airport in Boston. The 2 men were charged with trespassing and may face additional charges related to the drones. Police tracked the operators to a decommissioned health campus after detecting the drone near the airport. The 3rd suspect fled the scene. The arrests follow a series of recent drone sightings in the northeastern U.S. Though no national security threats have been identified, the BBC has reported. Homeland Security officials are working with local authorities to address the issue with calls for increased state powers to counter drone activity.
Okay, so we got a couple guys operating their commercial drone too close. 2 men arrested after drone operates dangerously close to Boston's airport. NTD News. They're arrested on Saturday. Hazardous drone operation coming amid widespread reports of drones flying over the New Jersey region. And of course, we go back to Chuck Schumer. Amid these drone sightings this week, I'll move for the Senate to pass legislation giving local officials the tools and authorities necessary to act quickly in lockstep with government agency, in goose step with government agencies. I think that's what he means. And then we have this. Federal officials will deploy high-tech system to New York after drones shut down the airport. I'm grateful for the support we need. We need more. That's what Kathy Hochul said regarding the rash of recent drone swarm sightings. More high-tech systems are going to be brought out to New York. Mysterious drones in New York State paralyze airport operation. This has gone too far, says Kathy Hochul. So we've got so much happening here. And thankfully, President Trump has given us some insight into that. In my opinion, you really got to read between the lines with what he's saying. But the evidence is overwhelming. We have a BlackRock-connected drone recovered in Brooklyn. Amateur drones losing power when approaching these craft. And Trump himself canceling trips to Bedminster. The government's silence speaks volumes, and here's the question that should keep you up tonight. If they're willing to hide a massive radiological threat from the American people, what else are they concealing? Comment below. And speaking of concealment, you don't want to hide your support for real news. Head over to shop.nextnewsnetwork.com and grab our exclusive Mag Avengers collection. Yes, we've got some serious designs inspired by patriots who are exposing government secrets. Don't miss out. They are flying off the shelves.